Imagine standing beside a river in prehistoric Colombia. The air is thick and humid. The water is perfectly still, too still, until something longer than a school bus begins to move beneath the surface. It's not a crocodile. It's not a dinosaur either. Those were already gone by this point, actually. It's a snake. One weighing over a metric ton. Its name was Titanoboa. And for a few million years, this thing didn't just live in the swamps of what is now Colombia. It owned them. Here's the thing, though. The size isn't really the interesting part. I mean, it is, obviously. We'll get to just how big, don't worry. But the real question, the one that actually matters, is this. How does a snake get that big in the first place? And is there any chance at all, that it could happen again? So let's rewind to 2009. A team of paleontologists is out at the Caraján coal mine in northern Colombia. Not exactly glamorous fieldwork, coal mines rarely are. Digging through rock that's tens of millions of years old. And they start finding vertebrae. Big ones. Way too big. At first, honestly, they figured they'd stumbled on crocodile bones. That was the obvious guess. Why wouldn't it be? It took years of careful comparison before anyone was confident enough to say what these bones actually belonged to: a snake. Once they ran the numbers based on vertebra size, the estimate came out to around 13 meters long and over a metric ton in weight. To this day, nothing bigger has ever been found. Titanoboa still holds the record. Nothing's come close, actually. To put that in perspective, a reticulated python, one of the longest snakes alive today, tops out around 6 or 7 meters. Titanoboa was nearly double that, and not just longer, thicker, heavier, built completely differently. At its widest point, you probably couldn't get your arms all the way around it. I certainly couldn't. It lived mostly in water, swamps, slow rivers, likely spending a lot of its time submerged, ambushing whatever came close, not unlike how green anacondas hunt today. Except again at a scale that's honestly hard to picture. Big fish, crocodile relatives, whatever was unlucky enough to be nearby. But here's what actually kept nagging at scientists once the excitement of the discovery wore off. What kind of world even makes an animal like this possible? Turns out the answer isn't really about the snake at all. It's about the climate it was born into. Visual reconstructed Titanoboa model swimming through a Paleocene river system. This is where Titanoboa stops being just a cool fossil and starts being genuinely useful to science. Snakes, unlike us, don't generate their own body heat. Everything, digestion, movement, growth, all of it, depends on how warm their surroundings are. Warmer environment, more efficient metabolism, bigger body ceiling. That's roughly the rule. Roughly. Titanoboa shows up in the fossil record during the Paleocene, just a few million years after the dinosaurs disappeared, and the tropics back then? Noticeably hotter than they are now. So scientists did something pretty clever, actually. They took the size of Titanoboa's fossilized vertebrae and worked backward, essentially asking, how hot would it have needed to be to support a body this large? The number they landed on, somewhere around 30 to 34 degrees Celsius on average for that region. Which means Titanoboa isn't just the biggest snake we've ever found, it's a thermometer. A 60-million-year-old thermometer made of bone that's still telling us something about a world none of us will ever see firsthand. And get this, it wasn't the only giant that heat produced. Titanoboa didn't have the swamp to itself. Giant turtles, roughly the size of a small car, shared the same waters. So did crocodilian relatives, competing for a lot of the same food. This wasn't just a big snake existed once. This was an entire ecosystem running hot, where almost everything cold-blooded grew larger than we'd expect. And that's actually useful today, in a strange way. Understanding this lost world helps scientists model what tropical ecosystems might look like under extreme sustained warming. Titanoboa isn't just a fossil curiosity sitting in a museum somewhere. It's a reference point. So what happened to it? Nobody knows for certain, that's the honest answer, and I'd rather just say that than pretend otherwise. The leading theory is gradual cooling playing out over millions of years. slowly shrinking the amount of energy available to sustain a body that enormous. Some researchers point to changing habitats or prey becoming scarcer as contributing factors too. But there's no evidence of some sudden catastrophe here. No asteroid, no single event, just a slow, patient climate shift that a one-ton cold-blooded animal simply couldn't keep up with. Okay, so the question we actually came here for, what if Titanoboa never went extinct? Could something like it still be out there? Almost certainly not at that size. The planet's cooled off a lot since the Paleocene, and even today's warmest jungles don't come close to the heat that once supported a ton-plus reptile. If somehow a lineage had survived all the way to now, it probably would have shrunk over millions of years, landing somewhere close to what we already have, the green anaconda, which, not coincidentally, is the heaviest snake alive today. Now, I want to be careful here because this next part gets misused a lot online. This doesn't mean giant snakes come roaring back the moment temperatures rise. Evolution just isn't reactive like that. We're talking hundreds of thousands of years minimum, possibly millions. But, and this is the part worth actually sitting with, if extreme warmth held on long enough across evolutionary timescales, the same pressure that built Titanoboa in the first place hasn't gone anywhere. The rule still applies. Heat still sets the ceiling. Nothing about that has changed. We tend to remember Titanoboa as trivia, biggest snake that ever lived. A fun fact, a museum plaque. But it's more than that if you actually sit with it for a second. It's proof, written directly into bone, of just how tightly life on this planet is tied to climate. It didn't get big by accident. It didn't disappear by accident either. Temperature wrote both halves of that story. So next time you're watching some nature documentary and an anaconda slides across the screen, remember, its ancestors once shared this planet with something twice its size, not because that ancestor was special, because the world back then simply was. And if the world changes again, biology might not be done writing that story. Because the biggest giants in Earth's history, they weren't just built by evolution, they were built by the world that let them grow.